Today, we're going to talk about a single apartment. But this isn't just about real estate. It's a story that starts with a pretty hefty price tag, but it ends with a really big question about the future of how we all live in our cities. So, okay, let's get into it. Here it is. This is our starting point. 3.2 million Singapore dollars. That's the price for a new four-bedroom apartment in a place called Zyongrand. Now, that's a huge number, no doubt about it. But what does it actually get you? Well, it gets you this. A beautiful 1,421 square foot home in the sky. A slice of one of Singapore's newest luxury condos. But this apartment is way more than just glass and steel. Think of it like a clue, a data point that tells us something bigger is going on.
In that, right there, is the big question we're tackling in this explainer. What can this one apartment, with this one price tag, really teach us about where city living is going? To figure that out, we've got to zoom way out. So let's start with the big picture. What was happening in Singapore's economy in late 2024? Because that's the world this apartment, Zyongrand, was born into.
What's so interesting is that you had this kind of perfect storm brewing for property developers. First, the Monetary Authority of Singapore eased its policy for the first time since 2020. That's a big deal. Then you had strong GDP growth, 5% year on year. And on top of that, inflation was finally starting to cool down. These are some seriously powerful tailwinds. And this number, this shows you what all those big economic forces actually mean for a person looking to buy a home. Borrowing costs came down, and some banks were offering home loans as low as 2.4%. All of a sudden, financing a multi-million-dollar place got, a little bit easier. And that really kicks the market into a higher gear. So where did all that money go? This chart tells the story perfectly. Sales for new launch condos just shot up, the highest they'd been in a quarter since 2021. But look at the resale market. It actually dipped. It's clear buyers were absolutely hungry for brand new projects, which created the perfect climate for a developer to launch something big. Right, so the stage is set. You've got this great market, and onto that stage walk the developers. We're talking industry giants CDL and Mitsui Fudosan. And they didn't just place a bet with Zyongrand, it was a really calculated gamble on a whole new way of living. So what makes this place so different? It's not just another condo tower, not by a long shot. It's a whole mixed-use project. It's got a supermarket and a childcare center right downstairs. It has a direct sheltered walkway to the Havelock MRT station, and it has a brand new type of apartment that's a total game changer. And here it is, the SA2 Long Stay Serviced Apartment. This is a brand new government pilot program, and Zyongrand is the very first to try it out. These apartments are for people who need a place for at least 3 months, so this isn't for your average tourist. Think more like a professional on a 6-month work project, or maybe a family that needs a temporary home while their own house is being renovated. It just adds a whole new layer to the building's rental potential. Okay, now here's a twist. You'd think that a project with all these bells and whistles would be built on the most expensive land, wouldn't you? Nope. Turns out, the developers got the land for Zyongrand at a lower price per square foot than their competitors right next door. So, does that mean they'll sell it for cheaper? Well, not so fast. As property analyst David Neo puts it so perfectly, developers have no incentive to do charity. Just because their initial cost was a bit lower, don't expect them to pass those savings on to you. In fact, most experts are expecting the exact opposite. So it's really important to understand why they're going to charge a premium. It really comes down to 2 things. First, you're paying for that all-in-one lifestyle, the shops, the MRT connection, the convenience. And second, the developers are probably padding the price of the regular homes to cover the financial risk of that brand new, untested SA2 serviced apartment idea. It's a very smart, strategic calculation on their part. So we've got a premium product with a premium price. But who exactly is going to buy this? To really get this project, you have to understand the buyer. See, the modern affluent buyer, they're not just looking at square footage anymore. They are investing in a lifestyle. They want a sense of community, they want exclusivity, they want top-tier amenities, and things like privacy, security, and the developer's reputation, those are absolutely massive factors. They're buying into a whole vision of how they want to live their lives. And this right here, this is where Zyongrand's strategy becomes crystal clear. Just look at the breakdown of the units. A huge 58% of the apartments are 3 bedrooms or larger. That is way higher than what you see at competing projects, which tend to focus on smaller units for investors.
So, what that data is telling us is actually a very simple and powerful story. With this design, the developers are making a really clear statement. This project isn't just for investors looking to run out a small unit. It's being built for families, for people who are going to call this place home. Okay, so let's put all the pieces together. We've looked at the market, the developer's playbook, and the target buyer. So, what does our $3.2 million apartment really represent when you look at the whole picture?
Well, it's definitely more than just a luxury building. It's a highly calculated response to a very specific moment in time. It's this perfect fusion of favorable economic conditions, a super clever development strategy, and a really deep understanding of what a modern, affluent family is looking for in a home.
At the end of the day, Zyongrand is a strategic bet. It's a bet that the future of city living isn't just about having a nice apartment, but about seamless integration, about blending your home, your shopping, your transport, and your community all into one single vertical neighborhood. And that leaves us with one final big question to think about. As our cities get more crowded and our lives get more complicated, is this $3.2 million vision, this blueprint for integrated, high-density, family-focused luxury, is that the future of urban living for all of us?